There are a lot of organs associated with the abdominal cavity of the fetal pig, much like us as humans. You'll find organs that are related to the digestive system or part of the digestive system, organs that are part of the reproductive system, organs that are part of the urinary system. Also, what you'll notice as we look through the abdominal cavity is there are some organs that are readily apparent on the surface. There are other organs that we have to kind of dig a little deeper in order to see. So I'm going to start with the surface level organs that you can see readily on the surface of our fetal pig here. Let's start with the biggest, or the most obvious, this big dark brown structure here. That is the liver. The liver is made up of a number of lobes and has a number of functions within the body. And posterior to the liver, you can see the intestines. Pigs, just like humans, have a small intestine and a large intestine. In pigs, though, it's a little differently arranged than what we see in humans. The small intestines are all these guys here. This is all small intestine. The large intestine is this structure here. So in humans, the large intestines wraps around the small intestines. In pigs, it's a little different, where the small intestines is over here on the right side of the pig, and then the large intestines tends to be on the left side of the pig. Let me put my glove on. I'm going to show you a few more features associated with the intestines once we dig a little deeper. So the intestines are held together by highly vascularized tissue, which you can see here. As I fan the small intestines out, you see these lines in pink. This tissue that kind of bunches the intestines together, there's a really nice view there. This is called the mesentery, all right? And the mesentery exists within the small intestines and the large intestines. If we take a closer look at the large intestines, which we'll do here, you know that the large intestines and the small intestines attach together, right? The small intestines basically feed into the large intestine. And the small intestine feeds into the large intestines through a section of the large intestine called the cecum. So as I rotate the intestines this way, if you take a look at this big, large, swollen section, it kind of looks like the head of an earthworm. This is the cecum. And the small intestine, you might be able to see it here, the small intestine feeds into this pouch of the large intestines, meaning the food that's being digested here in the small intestines enters into the cecum, and then from the cecum it travels throughout the large intestines. Another name for the large intestines is the colon, right? Another structure besides the intestines that you can see here on the surface, I'll pull it apart, is this little structure here. Looks like a tongue. Let me see if I can get a better view with my camera there. There you go. So this structure here on the side, that looks like a tongue that my probe is touching. This is the spleen. I have a bit of connective tissue right now that is connecting the spleen to another organ, so I'm going to just snip it there so that we can push it to the side. There we go. So again, here's our spleen, or here's the fetal pig's spleen. You can see that the spleen is touching the stomach. So the stomach is actually underneath the liver, and if I lift the liver up, you get a much better view of the stomach. This particular pig's stomach seems to be filled with something, so it may have gotten something from its mother when it was still in the womb. Also, as I lift the liver up, I'm going to rotate my camera lens here a little bit more. You can see another structure that's highly associated with the liver. It's this small sac. Let me see if I can rotate my camera even further. There we go. That's a pretty good view. This small sac right here, this small sac right here, this is the gallbladder. The gallbladder is responsible for storing bile, and bile is a chemical material that helps you to digest fats. So it basically emulsifies fats. All right. So again, it's highly associated with the liver. This particular pig, you can see a portion of the gallbladder from this view. That's not usually the case. Right. Another kind of surface level feature that we can see is the urinary bladder. And here is the urinary bladder in the fetal pig. right? So those are all the things we kind of see at the surface, but let's go a little bit deeper. So again, what I'm going to do here is I am going to rotate or pull the liver up, all right? And again, you can see the gallbladder, you can see the stomach really well. I'm going to lift the stomach up, and I do have to move some things around here. I have to cut away some connective tissue. But what you will see behind the stomach, if we can get a good view of it. Let's see here. This might be the best view we've got. Behind the stomach is the pancreas. So if you can see this kind of grainy material, my probe is touching that grainy material. That is the pancreas, all right? The pancreas is responsible for making insulin. It also makes glucagon, which is a chemical that helps your cells know when to stop taking up sugars, kind of helps with your sugar metabolism there. Hopefully you can see it. I'm sorry, it looks a little out of focus. I don't know if I can get it in any better focus. There we go. There we go. So that's the pancreas right there underneath the stomach. Right? And we did the spleen, just trying to go through which ones we've talked about. Let's talk about some of the other organs that are associated with the urinary system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm lifting up the intestines so that we can take a good look at the kidneys. So I'm going to cut away at some connective tissue here so we can get a nice good view of the kidneys. Kidneys function in filtering blood. They filter out waste materials from your blood, particularly nitrogenous waste, nitrogen-containing wastes. And then the stuff that gets filtered out gets excreted in your urine. And that's what happens in the fetal pig as well. So here is one kidney. This is the pig's left kidney. And you can see there is a small tube that descends from the kidney. I'm going to lift up this tube with my probe. So here's that tube. This tube is called the ureter. And what it's going to do is that it's going to carry urine from the kidney all the way down to the urinary bladder, which is right here. So again, kidney, ureter, right there, this tube, and then we've got the urinary bladder. And remember, just like us, pigs have two kidneys. So there's the right kidney. Again, if I cut away at some of this connective tissue, you'll be able to see the ureter. So again, here's the kidney, here's the ureter. Right next to the kidney. Let's see if we can get that in better focus. All right, so there's the ureter. And again, it's going to carry urine all the way to this urinary bladder. Another thing you can see from this view when I push the intestines up is this swollen tube here. This is actually the last part of the large intestines. This is the rectum. And the rectum will carry fecal matter or poop down towards the anus. For release of digestive wastes.